Hey friends, happy Tuesday. I think Thomas and I are experiencing some technical difficulties. So how's everyone? I see Wendy and Lizette are here. So far you just have me. And we might have to figure out because I sent him a link and I think I sent him the wrong link. Yeah. So I'll be right back. Yeah, the one I just sent you, like right now, is the one Yeah. Ooh, now I'll pull you in. Look, I got all these people on. There you go. I see you now. I'm sorry. We're back. There we are. Wait. So just so everyone knows that I like to do it this way when it's just Thomas and I, and that way I can look at him and we're not crushed together. But when we have guests on, we'll be side to side to make it more intimate. So just pretend like we're newscasters or something. So everyone, thank you for your patience. Thank you for coming on. We have a little technical difficulty. Can you hear me, Thomas?
Yeah, technical difficulty. I didn't know what the heck I was doing.
Wait, we've been doing this for over a month, and he's like, I'm in, and I'm like, I'm here. I sent him a link twice, but you have to enter the studio, and it gets hidden on his computer, so you can't see that part. So he thinks that he's in, but if you can't see me, you're not in. Yeah, Wendy think it's funny. Hey, Quimby. Hey, Carla. What's going on, friends? Lizette, Christy from Philly. Hello. Lori from Seattle. What's going on, friends? Is everyone safe? Is anybody out there protesting? Thomas is going to be the person asking me questions. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I put out feelers earlier because we want to keep the conversation going. Oh, that's that's hey Quimby. Let me see. Okay, so what do we got today? I saw a reseller Wendy's here. Hello. So how about if you introduce yourself, sweetie, for people who don't know who you are?
I am Pasha Dude X, also Thomas Leslie's wonderful husband.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so he added that wonderful in there.
So yeah, I'm trying to turn my head to this gigantic zit. I haven't had a zit. I had a zit like this since I was a teenager. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, he's got a horn growing out of his face. Okay. He has a horn growing out of his face. So yeah. Crazy. So who says that acne is just for the young? So today Thomas is going to ask a bunch of questions. I did put the topic out there that we're just going to be talking about, like, what are we talking about, Thomas?
What's going on in the world today? How it affects us as far as reselling is concerned. Nice. My first question is, how is the current political, social, medical situation, how's it affected your reselling?
So I'm going to answer this question, and I want people in the comments to answer too. I'm going to pull questions up onto the screen. So how about if you go first, sweetie? You want me to go?
Yeah, you go first. Sure.
So how has it affected? It has affected it not as much as probably other resellers, because I'm a person who doesn't really source that often. I'm really strategic about like the items that I get when I do source. I try to have a lot on hand so I can work a little bit at a time. And plus, I'm building other side hustles. So reselling is not my number one gig, right? And so I did have to get creative, though, in terms of finding new things that I wanted to do, new passions. And so I decided to go full force with vintage items. And so I did a lot of research and found some places that I can find some really good vintage items. So I have a lot of vintage items I haven't even touched. And being in the house, I have not been affected because I work from home and I'm really a homebody. And what's the other thing I was going to say? Oh, so with the COVID, I was kind of staying in, just kind of keeping cover. Now, with the new state of events, all the new movement and everything that's going on after the death of George Floyd and everyone else, I don't want to leave any names out, but I'm just going to name him currently. And the current uproar, I started going back to the things that I love and what I was passionate about, and that's handmade items. When I used to have my Etsy store open for my hand designs, I used to give 10% of my money to Hydrocephalus Association and Autism Delaware on behalf of my girls. So recently what I started doing is recreating that and giving money to the NAACP, Feeding America, and I'm looking for 2 smaller foundations to send percentages to, and that's on my website. And then on Etsy, I'm still going to be sending money to hydrocephalus and autism. So I'm getting creative, even in the midst of kind of like my feelings. So I encourage everyone to do that, though, even though you're going through some things, to find something else that you're passionate about. Go ahead, sweetie.
But as far as everyone else, how have all the rest of you guys been sourcing? I mean, I also know that Leslie has been looking up wholesalers and different ways to get things, because this COVID thing is not really over yet. I don't know about nobody's really talking about it on the media, but people are still dying.
Yeah.
And so how have you folks been sourcing? I know here in Delaware that Goodwills have opened up. They've opened up and they have a real weird way of doing it, but you can still source, and I've gone a couple times. I found some pretty good stuff, but I'm not really big on sourcing outside of our home because we still have a lot of stuff left over when I was going constantly. So how have you folks been sourcing?
So I'm going to point out, I know for sure, if Quimby's still on here, Quimby, you just did a video, you just released a video. So talk about some of the sourcing. You've been doing a lot of online sourcing. So I would like to see in the comments what you've been sourcing. Lizette just said they're in phase 2 in Massachusetts. I know that Lori's been saying that there are no local Massachusetts stores. So she's been traveling out to like New Hampshire and Rhode Island and different places. And then this is Lori. I've been fine with inventory because I have a huge profit pile. Yay, Lori. My thrift addiction is finally a positive thing. Yes, Lori, she doesn't mind sharing it, but she admitted that she has a thrifting addiction. She shops too much, and so I'm really super proud of her. Anyone else? Where have you been sourcing? Have you gotten creative online? I see everyone. I know what you're doing. Thomas doesn't see it, so let's start the conversation going. We want to see what everyone's been working on. Are you starting any organizations? Are you a part of any movements? I still have plenty of inventory, and she call it money mountains. Okay, Lizette.
Yeah, it went from being called a dead pile to a money mountain. Because I call mine a dead pile.
And Lori calls hers a profit pile.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've heard life pile, money pile. I really like the money mountains. So get that stuff listed, Lizette. How about any other people? So how is your business? Reseller Wendy says she shops too much.
Are any of you guys started going back to the stores, the Goodwills, how about yard sales, etc.?
Wendy Span, you can answer that one. Have you started going back? I'm only naming people that I know specifically that I interact with every day. Here's Christy's another one that keeps a lot of inventory. Christie's from Philly. I have plenty of inventory. The great thing is I have been able to put it all on a spreadsheet. Stores just open. Yes, and Christy, didn't you say you got a special invite or something like that? Tell us about that and what kind of items did you get, if you got anything. Investment piles is what reseller Wendy calls hers. I love it. Oh boy. Okay, so here's Wendy to answer your question.
All right, I've been to the bins a couple of times with the mask on. Yeah, me too. Well, they make you wear a mask, so you have to do the mask. But everybody I've seen at the bins is masks and gloves. And the way they're doing it here in Delaware is they let 44 people in. They make you go to one specific bin. You can't go to more than one person.
Sweetie, move up. Yeah.
Okay. And then they ring the bell like every 30 to 45 seconds, and you have to move to another bin. And it actually works out nice if you get there early, right at a flip. But if you get there when the next 44 people go in, because they move everybody out, then they move the next 44 people in, and by then they've done another flip. Now you get there toward the end of the day, it's just crap. So you have to go early to take advantage of it. But like I said, it's actually not a bad system. But we have so much stuff here. Mountains of money, whatever y'all call them these days, debt pile, that's what I call them. I was downstairs looking a few minutes ago. I realized, oh my God, I have 30 pair of cowboy boots, and I only have 12 of them listed. How about I take care of that first before I go sourcing again? So,
Yeah. Well, and then we have we can get shoes. Thomas has a lot of different connections and people he's met along the way, and he helps them, they help him. And because we sell different things, he's doing something different than I am. I'm doing something different, of course, than he is. So that is really interesting. So what have you been focusing on the most during all of this, Thomas, in terms of your selling?
As I said on other weeks, I'm still focusing on shoes because I find that, it is pretty much turned into just jeans and shoes. Everything else is just kind of sits there. And, and I finally learned from you how to relist. And that has caused me to have a few more sales. But, the more shoes I put on, as a matter of fact, I got some shoes today. I just didn't tell you yet. I got some more shoes today. So I'll be listing some shoes tonight. And, I really feel that shoes is just the way for me to go. And I'm going to continue to do shoes, and I'm going to eventually weed everything else out because shoes is working for me.
Yeah. So I showed Thomas how to use the copy listing feature in Poshmark. If you haven't been using it, I would suggest using it. If you've been relisting, it's an easier way. Don't just, this gives you a chance to refresh your items. You erase the copy and you can change your feed. You can change anything in your description, something that's been sitting for possibly since you started reselling, but give it a chance. If you have not been relisting, it's a game changer. I relisted yesterday. I copy listed only about 5 things and I sold 2 things. Today, I was listing things in Etsy, but I started in Poshmarks, but I wanted to take a nap. I copy an item and I relisted it and it sold in 5 minutes. So that's just to show you that it's working. And for people who think that it's not, it is literally, it's listing something brand new. And some people were saying that it's going to cause an issue, but it's not. People are listing every day. It's the same concept. You're just deleting the old. Your numbers aren't going to change because you're taking one item out and replacing it with the same item. So your numbers should stay the same. Okay. It's all about math. Let me see. I see a couple comments.
I just feel bad that I didn't start doing it when you told me about it, I don't know, a couple months ago. Because I think the last 5 or 6 sales I've had have all been due to relisting. So it is a game changer.
Yeah. Stable movement. I'm just digging out of my house right now. I'm playing it safe. I agree. I'm that way. But also, I would also say to people, Thomas and I are doing the same thing. He's probably getting rid of more things than I am, but we're moving eventually. We'll say before 2020 is over. And so what I've decided to do is make Mercari kind of like my online yard sale. So I've been taking a room a week and going through and pulling items like out of the drawers, I was under my bed the other day because I was like, oh, I have some shoes. I still got to get back under there in my basement. And I've sold so many things that I've had sitting around. One item, I only made like $1.32 for it, but I didn't pay anything for it. It was given to me brand new in the packet. So I wasn't losing anything. I made $1.32. Like I let Macari give me my shipping label. So just take advantage of that. Think about before you leave your house, how much potential you have for things. And of course we all want to get out, but I'm like, take a walk or something, you know, buy real groceries or whatever. But if you have things that are still sitting, I know we're anxious, but you don't have to spend just to be spending. Let's see. Then Lori, this is Lori's response. Having to stay home has really helped me with my shopping addiction. I'm so glad. While I do miss it, I'm confident I will never be back in that situation of shopping so much ever again. I'm over it. Yay, I'm proud of you, Lori.
I got a question that has nothing to do with reselling. How many of you folks have been out protesting? And if so, did you protest as safely as you possibly could? Because the thing is, when they first started talking about opening up the states, I'm like, oh, that's crazy. People are still dying of COVID-19. Everybody's, wants to open up the state. And suddenly, now they're protesting because of the death. And everybody's on the streets now. It's like, so nobody is concerned about COVID no more. The people that want to be free and the people that want to protest, everybody's just doing everything. And I'm afraid I want to see what's going to happen about a month from now. I mean, there's going to be a huge number of people that have succumbed to the virus. It has me a little, antsy. The thing is, I'm outside all the time because of my business. I'm not really in nobody's face. I do clean outs. I clean out garages and basements and stuff that's outside. I haul brush, so I'm not really in a risky situation. But I'm not down to go into a big crowd. I'm not down to protest. I'm not, and I would because I think it's an important issue. But I'm not down to go into a crowd. I'm just not going to do it. So
to piggyback on that, since Thomas is kind of like an older gentleman, seriously. So
was Gray up here? I earned it. I earned it.
Yes, he earned it. Great. He said, in order to be old, you have to have lived. And so the reason that I bring that up, he did say that he would be out like protesting, and I would too if it was a small crowd. I don't like crowds anyway, so I would never be out amongst it. I get phobic with too many people. But Thomas actually grew up in the civil rights movement time, so we can talk about that real quick. What do you see differently? And I'm not talking about in terms of the activity, but what is the difference between the protesting now and the protesting then? Can you think? Because you were about like when Martin Luther King died, you were 10 or 11.
About 10, yeah.
Yeah.
No, actually, I was 11. Yeah.
So you were aware of what was going on.
Well, to tell you the truth, as a child, the town I grew up in was a pretty urban town, and we were surrounded by white suburbs. And you just kind of knew where to go and where not to go. And we didn't really know as children what racism was. We just knew that, it almost reminds me of that movie called The Gangs of New York. This is your territory. This is our territory, and you didn't cross that border, so-and-so, so-and-so. So the difference is, I think what has happened is that the younger generation has become so much more aware of what's going on because of the camera phones, and as soon as something happens, it's broadcasted, and the younger people are into it now, and now they understand what we already knew, that the situations that occurred then are still occurring now. So now it's time for everybody to get out here and try to do something. And the thing that's uplifting about it is that you're seeing more Caucasians out there protesting along with everybody, because everybody's kind of tired of it, we have basically this paramilitary force, which is all our police departments, just doing what they want. So that's the difference. I think then again, it was the young people that were involved with it back then too. So it's a movement of the young people.
Group, right? It's the movement of well, then also, which is different, you were saying that there are a lot of people who are not of color, but more so it's more acceptable now because we are kind of growing together. Back then, of course, it was because it was the civil rights movement. We were really fighting for civil rights. So if you were a person who was of non-color trying to protest and everything, that wasn't really allowed as much, right?
Not allowed is
Yeah.
a mild way of putting
Is a
it.
mild way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I love the fact because there's several people just in this chat alone who have been creating conversations. Like Wendy's been starting conversations, which I'm super proud of. I'm going to be, for people who don't know it, I'm going to be having a culture conversation June 29th. I would love for everyone to join. I'm only having 20 people because we want to keep it small, but people from different cultures. Carla's coming on. Hugo and Tiffany are coming on. I would love to see Andrew and Lizette come in. Just also for like a couple's perspective. Carla, your husband is more than welcome to join because we do have to start a conversation. And I love the fact that I have this platform because the community is so important to me. And the fact that just even within the community, we're starting conversations and kind of seeing things, you know, more than we were before. You know, I'm not living a movement. Thomas and I don't live a movement. This is every day for us. So I love the fact that now the world, because I love seeing London and all these, I mean, gosh, Australia. I mean, I can even name how many people have just been protesting peacefully. And it's just been a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so I love the fact that things are changing, you know, that they're changing, definitely. So the ladies are saying yes. Does anybody have any other questions? What's your next question, sweetie?
I want to know how many people are essential service workers. How many people are nurses? Do they have a full-time job doing something that's considered essential? That's my next question. And if so, what do you do?
Okay. So Wendy's the one who said that there was a spike in cases of the virus, so she's staying away from crowds, and she went to the bins the 2 times that she went. So, and she says her bins are crowded, so they're probably doing something different than we're here. And this is, I had asked Christy to share. So Christy's, my local thrift store decided to do a big sale in the back of their building, and they only allowed so many people back there at a time. I had a private appointment with them, so I was all by myself. Oh, that's really nice, especially when you go a lot. Where's that at, Christy? I bought swimwear, games, totes. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. And so here's Lizette. She and Andrew, we were talking about that, Instacart. And so that's definitely essential. And yes, because our Instacart, I just started Instacart. I'm not doing it, but I ordered some. And it was such a cool experience. And I said to Thomas, I'm like, it keeps people employed and it helps me that I don't have to shop. And I definitely think it's essential. And you guys work. I didn't know how much work, because he was like sending me text messages and everything. Like, they don't have this. Do you want this? And I just think it's a wonderful thing. So I think about you out there, and I think about you and Andrew, and now my daughter's doing it. So that's essential. Anyone else on the front lines, anyone, postal service, and it, to me, if you're out there dealing with people every single day, grocery store, that's essential workers. Food service, like we have a store we like, Malin's, because there is a lot of stores that you can only drive through. So the ones who are actually restaurants, right, to me, they're essential businesses because you're still going inside of their establishment, either calling ahead or placing your order. Okay, so Quimby says, California is behind everyone else, it seems. Nothing open. I have learned to shop online and it's great. Yes, Quimby, I was telling Thomas, tell him some of the things that you've been sourcing. Like Quimby just did this $500, she bought $500 worth of bags or something. So talk about some of the experiences. I talk to Quimby all the time, so I know what she's doing, but share for people who aren't aware. What's your next? You had a whole list, sweetie. What's your next question?
Yeah, I'm going down the list. How many people have lost their job and started reselling because they've lost their job and they couldn't get unemployment? Anybody that you know of? Has reselling replaced anything?
That's a really good question. Has anyone lost their job? So while they're coming up with that, Lori has saying something. But has anyone lost their job and has reselling took over? Thomas, I agree. So scary. This has occurred at the same time. The timing of pandemic and protest together is just ironic. I fear more innocent deaths from enormous numbers of people being together. I agree with you. It's everything. It's like, I was even looking at George Floyd's like funeral. Like, he had like 3 different services. I mean, they're shuffling his body all around. And it's just so many people. And it's just like, so hard. I mean, it's not that I can look at the comfort of my home, and that's what I would prefer to do. Unless it's a family member, I'm not going. When my uncle passed away in April, I was really sick, and his was outside at the cemetery service, and I was like, yeah, that's still too close to people. So it's, to me, that's just the only reason why I feel it is just so many people out there. Quimby, you have pivoted to shop online and you're killing it. Yeah, Lori. Quimby's doing her thing. And Quimby, tell us also, because Quimby is a professional, is a psychotherapist. She specializes in grief therapy. And so she had to start doing things visually. Thanks for coming on, Daniela. Hello. Daniela is an essential worker. Daniela, Thomas just asked if anybody here is an essential worker. So real quick, tell us what you do. And what has your schedule been like before you jump off, Daniela? So, because Daniela was saying there was a challenge, they had to escort everybody out of her building last week. So, such important work, but terrible that more likely will die. Yes, indeed. So, okay. So, while people are thinking about if they want to answer, because I don't know, I think it might be like a delay or something. What?
Well, another question I have is, how many people actually lost their jobs permanently because of the virus scare? Because, you know, I know a lot of people have been furloughed and are hoping to go back to work, but I know some businesses have closed. So I'd like to know how many people have actually lost their jobs permanently and on unemployment. And have you gotten your unemployment? You know, is everything still tied up as far as the states that you're in concerned?
So there's Christy. I'm an essential worker for the water department.
Okay.
The water department. So Christy's in Philly. She works at the same water department that my father and uncle retired from. So, but Christy, you were home have you been working the whole time? I know at one point you were home for a little bit. Are you just going back the last couple of weeks, or have you been working? We just haven't discussed that. So has anybody, again, lost their job? And then Daniela, tell everybody what you do as an essential worker. Yeah, I think there's definitely a delay. Yeah, in there. So has anybody lost their job, been downsized, have been told that they can't come back, have been told they have to work from home for this foreseeable future? Has anyone lost benefits? Have you filed for unemployment? Are you filing for everything you're eligible for? Are you researching that? That's really important to do. Yeah, well, that's definitely what's happening.
That's happening around here too.
Yeah, it's a shame. It really is.
For example, what closed down? The Burger King that's uptown.
Yeah, the Burger King right on a college campus. That's how you know something's bad if a Burger King is closing down right in the middle of a college community, you know. But then another reason that a lot of the businesses are closing because of like the rioting just took place. So we're right next to Philly, which is my home city, and a lot of things took place in Center City. So businesses that were just opening up they were closing because they had to close because of COVID. But a lot of the businesses have been destroyed. Not only that the window broke, I know a friend of mine, they went into his brother's whole store and stole all the clothes out of the store. And so he is totally out of business. And so that's been like really crazy. A lot of the streets have been closed down. So how's it been in everybody else's area? Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely something going on. So what else you got, sweetie?
A question I had, how many people have come to you as a community of resellers and asked about reselling that wasn't doing it before and may have gotten interested in it and you've maybe coached them into doing it?
Yeah, that's a good one. I can answer I just had this conversation with some people a couple of days ago. I think it was on a chat that I was doing, and we were talking about, I was doing a podcast. And so we were talking about how friends before would look at them and say, oh, you're reselling. What's that all about? But now coming to them and asking them if they could help them start their reselling business. And some people are starting to consign, and some people are teaching their friends how to do it. So that I hear that a lot. So I'm gonna go back to Christy. So Christy says they have me going in one day out of the week physically, but they provided me with a laptop to work at home. Okay. So do you know what's going to happen in the future? Is this a position that you think they're going to phase out for you to just work from home? Because that's a really good conversation starter to find out. I understand that a lot of businesses are going to start having their employees work from home. They see it working a little bit better. So remember, ladies, back in the day, you probably went to your job and you said, after I have the baby, I want to see if I can work from home. And your employer said, no, you can't work from home. But now a lot of employers are realizing that it's actually simpler than they thought. And of course, times are different, with technology and all, but just imagine, hey, Nikki just arrived. What was that saying over here? Andrew has been retired for 3 years. We are reselling all along, and then Instacart was the opportunity for us to make additional money during an uncertain time. I say do it where you can. See, we were talking about this when you two were on. You're so much like Thomas and I. Like, you've really got the hustler mentality. You're going to keep doing something. You're going to find something to do. Not make excuses. If you have a car that runs, that makes perfect sense. If you have a computer that works, that makes perfect sense. Thomas has a truck, right? That makes perfect sense. So there's always ways to make money. Not everyone's going to step up and do that, but there's ways to make money. That never stops. Okay, so here, this is Walmart home offices are keeping their technology department working remotely. I read in the local news this week. Wow.
Click on what Christy's doing. Christy Blocker.
Christy. My daughter's boyfriend, who was a sneakerhead, worked at a restaurant that closed, has asked me about reselling. Oh, that is pretty cool. So your daughter's boyfriend has asked you about reselling. So because he probably has about 50 pairs of sneakers, like, some people do. And that's how a lot of people get started, especially the younger people. That's how our teens got started.
And some sneakers are big money.
Yeah, especially the guy sneakers because of their feet size and just the stuff that they purchase. So that I definitely would say just show them. I don't do any consignment. People ask me often if I can sell their stuff, and my answer is no. I will teach you how to do it. It literally, I can give you an hour. I'd rather give you an hour of my time than to consign. I don't want to get into that kind of contract and everything, but definitely just kind of put it out there. It's easier than saying, oh, I'm selling a product. Would you like to, come onto a business with me? They're starting their own business, no money, with things that they have around the house. They upload several kinds of apps, right? Poshmark, Etsy, eBay, Tradesy, Vinted. It's so many. Depop. There's whatever your mood is, whatever your personality is. Hey, Sandra just came on, Posh Lady 777. Awesome.
How do you remember all these names? Oh my God.
Because they're on my community. You can't have a community if you don't know who's in it. It's different. Like, these are people that I actually talk to constantly. That's why I know their names. So like, it's different than like in my community on Instagram where it's 16,000 people. There's no way. I'm learning. If people comment every single day, I get to know them. But a lot of people here are on my personal group. And people that I've known for more than a year. So that's why. So tomorrow, friends, join me tomorrow. I'll be on with my friend Chi Chi. Chi Chi's in Atlanta. And so she was supposed to be on at my first Brown Girl chat, but we had some technical difficulties. Chi Chi and I are going to be partnering up to do a couple webinars. So come on tomorrow. You can hear about Chi Chi. She's doing some wonderful artistic things in Atlanta. And then on Thursday, I'm going to have Sarah Styles on. Then next week, Thomas and I again. Next Wednesday, the 17th, I'll be on Denali's channel. And then the 18th, I'll have the Spanish girls on again with me. It'll be Carla and Rosalind, and Sandra's coming back on again, who is Posh Lady 777, Elsa. So they'll be on, and we're going to have a great time. Lizette is saying, put the thumbs up. Yes, if you like my content, thumbs up, and also set a reminder I have a lot of content coming out. I just did a video yesterday, which was just a little shipping label video talking about expired videos, extra postage and stuff like that. Things that people have questions. If you want me to do a specific video, please leave comments or send me a message on Instagram, because the next couple of weeks I'm coming out with a lot of content and anything you want to hear on the podcast. As far as her job, they put up plexiglass around me and my other 3 coworkers so we can be safe. Interesting. Well, you're from Philly. You're used to the plexiglass. That's just not the bulletproof kind like you see in the stores, though, right, Christy? Oh God.
I'm all out of questions. You guys feel free to go back and answer some of the questions I asked before. One quick question: how many of you have taken a chance and gone to the beach this past weekend when it was really hot?
That's a good question. It's a couple people who've been traveling. Nikki been a couple places. So Glow Girl Glow, talk about some of the places you've been. Anybody else been traveling? I ain't going nowhere. If I have to wear a mask, I'm not going. Yeah, see, Nikki, tell us where you've been, Nikki. She's, she came live. She was on live last week. I said, where you at? So tell everybody where you were last week. So Lizette is, she's, I don't know if they can I guess they can click the link in the comment, but Lizette is promoting for me. She and Nikki, and I think they're the only 2 people in this chat. But I sent them, they purchased the heart tie-dye bleach shirts that I'm making. That money is going, 10% of the proceeds for the heart shirts. The link is in my bio on Instagram, amireallybald.com, and Lizette just put it here. 10% goes to the NAACP and Feeding America. If you go to my Etsy shop, those proceeds go to 2 other organizations. So Lizette, she'll be modeling, I guess, when she gets hers, and Nikki will be modeling. Nikki was the first person who bought. So Nikki says that she went to Panama City Beach for Memorial Day.
Where is that? I think that's Florida, isn't it? Is that Florida?
Yes, because okay. Nikki's in Atlanta. And then she went to Vegas last weekend. She went live and she's standing there, eating. I said, where are you at? I type in, oh yeah, I'm with my honey. We in Vegas. Okay. So Nikki, join us tomorrow because Chi will be on, because I want you to meet Chi. So you'll get a chance to see her if you can come on live in the chat, and you'll see her and get a chance to, get her vibe. But she's in Atlanta. She's a person you definitely want to meet. She's got a lot going on. Sandra says the beach was crowded. And Lizette, first of all, if you guys need to go to Lizette's Instagram, she's been like working out and stuff. She bought some sneakers from me. She bought a lot of stuff from me, Lizette. But she had on the sneakers. She was out walking and stuff, but then she's exercising and everything. So Thomas, what direction do you see your business going in? You're not doing a lot of sourcing. You're not selling on eBay anymore. So what is your goal now? Do you strictly want to continue what you're doing on Poshmark and building up your Mercari, or are you satisfied just with the work that you're putting into Poshmark at this time?
I'm actually putting work into both. If I get 5 pair of shoes, I'll do 5 Poshmark, 5 Mercari. Yeah. It's just that my Poshmark, I guess because I have people that know me already, is just selling more. I'm trying to play with my pictures and see if I can change my photographs, make them better, blah, blah, blah. Just trying to do a daily refinement. Yeah. But my goal is to, like I said before in the other weeks, is to eventually give up reselling, period. Just maybe do a course like you're talking about, start my own channel, but I don't really know what I want to talk about yet. I still haven't a clue. Maybe something along the realms of politics, which I don't really like getting into too much with this audience because, people have different opinions about different politicians, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, I quit eBay. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So that's Nikki. He can get in a little further, but I have to click Lizette. Lizette said he kicked it like a bad habit.
There's nothing wrong with it if you like it. I just got to the point where I just didn't like some of the things that I saw. And it's working for a lot of people. A lot of people making great money. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah. And this is from a person who's been selling on eBay for a while and saw the transition. So he wasn't afraid of eBay or anything like that. It's, so it's different for people who are on Poshmark and they're currently trying to decide if they should make the jump to eBay and they're afraid. Thomas has seen all the ups and downs of eBay. So he made a conscious decision to leave. It wasn't like he was like, oh, I don't like it. I mean, we're talking, 10, 15 years or whatever selling on that platform before we had all the things that we have now. And so he just really thought about what it was that he wanted to do. And it wasn't
Yeah, and I just needed less complicated. eBay is to me has always been unnecessarily complicated, and that's why Poshmark has come on the scene in Macari. They're much simpler and less complicated. And quite frankly, for me, it's all about money. The fees were kicking my butt. You
Yeah.
know,
So
if I had a week, a couple of years ago, I was making 1,500 a week, something like that, right? But then at the end of the month, I look at what my fees were. I'm like, yikes,
yeah.
fees and like, So,
Yeah. So a
but
lot of
like
people
I
that's
said,
worth it. A lot of people that's worth it. And to me, it's not. So Sandra says she was at the beach in Ocean City in South Jersey because she lives right down that way.
mhm.
And I don't think you ever met Sandra. Sandra, did you meet Thomas before? It says, and then Lori says she went to the beach. She's in Seattle, so it's going to be it's first time in 90 days. It was cool and rainy. That sounds like Seattle to us. Wore a mask. Only about 6 people there. Feel alive again. And I think to me that's perfect. I would love to go out and it's only 6 people. Like Thomas and I, we took a walk last week. We had to do a little bit more of that because we do live in an area where it's not like highly populated. For us to walk, we can even go to the park and not be around people. So we're not like in the city element, but I'm not in a hurry to go to the beach or any vacation right now. I'm not paying for a hotel anywhere or anything like that. Hey, Valerie Goodson, Posh Den, hello, friend. Let's see. Okay, I saw someone else. She said it was nice. She says, Carla, want to hear what Thomas say about, no, we're not doing politics today, Carla. Join us. Don't even, no, we're not even going to get them started because this is my channel and I try to keep it. Y'all know me.
Not gonna do it.
No,
Not gonna do it. We can talk around certain subjects, but
yes, I don't mind talking protests because everyone knows what's going on in protests. I don't mind talking COVID. But my channel still has to be consistent beyond Tucker Talks. So you can ask some questions and we can see if they're good questions. So Posh Den went on eBay for a month 3 years ago, sold nothing, but did get $30 in fees. That's because when you don't have a store, you're really going to get fees. When you go on just to try it, because I don't think anyone should just jump in and get a store. Now I did that, so I'm not really one to talk that way. But I already knew about eBay because the Thomas was selling. So I went right in and did store and the money was coming in. But just like Thomas said, you get excited. And even the people who show those numbers. So imagine when you're on Instagram and you see those people putting up their 30 and 60 and 90-day numbers and you go, wow, that person made $30,000. Imagine how many fees coming out of that money. Because even if you have a store, they only let you list up to a certain amount of listings. So anything beyond that becomes your fees. So can you imagine what your fee is going to get? I'd rather get a higher percentage, but then if that's your business model, then keep going with that. But you always to the end, you have to do what works for you.
Yeah. Now, as far as eBay is concerned, I think the top level is what they call an anchor store. And it's like you can list 10,000 items or something like that. But there's a monthly fee. And if you don't know how to pick or you don't know how to take good pictures and you don't sell, you're going to lose money.
But isn't the anchor store like $500 or something? That's like a bigger one.
Yeah.
That's an expensive one too. So definitely, anyone start off and just do listings just to see if you like it. But then if you're making sales, instantly go to the lowest store. But the one thing I want to tell you about the store, once you purchase your store, you are locked in for a year. They will not let you unsubscribe from your store. You can take all your listings off, but they're still going to charge you every month. Okay, because when I was ready to leave eBay, I sent them a message and they were like, yes, so they were like, you can pay us the 3 months that you still owe us, or you can keep paying monthly. They do not give you a break. So that's just a little tidbit for people who don't know. Lori saying, I started on eBay, got a store after a year, then Posh a year later. eBay harder to list on and seems like always something changing, but I make more money there than on Posh. And that's really what people are basically really saying. And Nikki says that everyone's offering all kinds of free incentives. I was just telling Thomas this probably last week, he probably doesn't remember, but eBay is so funny that all the things that aggravated us and that we would call eBay for challenges and stuff, they're being flexible because they're afraid of losing customers now. Before it was we agree that for like the smaller stores, they were like, you call them up, sometimes they'll be like, yeah, we really don't care, or whatever the situation, or they'll drop you down really quick. If you make mistakes and everything. That's the only thing I don't like about eBay is if you make a couple mistakes, they drop you down. You can go from it. What's the top seller or whatever. You can go from the top seller down real quick.
Below average.
Yeah, below average. So you start off as like an average seller, I think, something like that. That's where you start off, and then you have to work your way up. But if you make some mistakes, they bump you down. And then it's so funny the way that they do it, that even when you've caught up and you've done everything you're supposed to do, they still keep you. they still because it takes 2 or 3 months to try to even get back up, I think.
And eventually, if you stay down low, even if you don't make any mistakes, they start messing with your money, and that's what pissed me off. They started messing with my money. It's like, oh, I can't get my money immediately. I have to wait 30 days or something like that to get my money. That didn't sit well with me, and I wasn't making that many mistakes, but it was enough for their what do they call it? What do they call that thing where they judge things by? Whatever. I didn't like it. I put it that way.
Yeah. So Christy's saying her daughter's going to Atlantic City because she booked a hotel room for $30. Everyone's giving stuff away. So where's the first place you want to travel? Once you can get on the airplane and fly away somewhere, where's the first place you want to go? Or where was the trip? Because I know Carla was saying they were talking about going to Italy. They had already planned a trip, but where's some place that you had already maybe booked and you had to cancel, or somewhere that was on your plan for the coming year that you wanted to go? Yeah, and so Sandra lives close, so she's saying to Chrissy, yes, Atlantic City has many offers. Everybody's offering, because Nikki, did you get a discount, or did you have vouchers or something like that? Was your trip inexpensive to Vegas? Yeah, I want to find out where everyone wants to go. I'm still trying to get to Ireland, but right now we're just trying to get
I think they've shut down international travel.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, well, we already talked about that. I think that's scheduled for ask him about I think it was the 30th we're trying to do, Lizette.
I want to go to Egypt.
Yeah.
Ghana.
Okay, so her boo worked for the airlines. Yes. Cool. Egypt, Brazil. Yep, good places. Oh, Valerie, definitely, DC. So where do you live at now? Because DC is not that far from us. That's like 2 hours, right, sweetie?
Yeah, about 2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours. We pass through there every time we go down south. So we're going to be on the other side. It's like we go through Baltimore and Washington and Virginia, and then get to North Carolina. Now we're going to be on the other side traveling. I'll probably be flying from now on. Okay, so Lori, yes, she wants to see her kids and her grandbabies and best friends in her hometown of St. Louis, and she should be right there now. Yes, because when you go for like a long time. I think the last time you went, it was like 17 days or something like that. Your mom's there too, right? Who's saying? Somebody's saying they want to go to Posh Fest. Oh, you're in Atlanta. Very nice. Okay, so Atlanta, we should be making some connections. You got Glow Girl Glow, Nikki here. Valerie joining me tomorrow. I'll be on with Chi Chi. She's in Atlanta.
The thing about Atlanta is my hometown is Plainfield, New Jersey. There are a lot of people from Plainfield that went to live in Atlanta, and I understand that there's a park down there where they have a Plainfield Day. Everybody from Plainfield that's in Atlanta gets together and has like a party.
Wow. Atlanta is definitely one of my stops. I was supposed to go in January, but I didn't have enough interest from people because I'm coming to meet the community. So I'll probably save that for the end of the year, which that's when I'll be feeling safe to travel after we move and get settled. Somebody said, so Lizette, Lizette wants to know when my birthday is. My birthday is next month. It's July 20th. I'll be 51. I was born the day man walked on the moon. So I'll be 51 July 20th. And I don't look a day over whatever you imagine me to be.
Neither do I.
I want to get back to Puerto Rico, but my husband would love to take a cruise, but I'm not ready to be on the ship. Yeah, cruises don't interest me at all. Lori says Posh Fest, but likely not in 2020. I'm agree with you, Lori. I definitely do not think Posh Fest is going to be in 2020. Manish has already kind of headed towards that. So that's why they're trying to do as many virtual things. But I also think what's going to happen in 2021, there's going to be a lot of Posh Party Lives in more cities than they currently were, because each year they were building on. So because it's been a long time since people have seen each other, it's going to be more of a push for Posh and Sips and Posh Party Lives, and then get the ball rolling with Posh Fest. So hopefully, I would love for them to have it on two coasts, and it doesn't have to be the same time, but I would love them to have it on two coasts so people can have the choice if they want to travel. That would be beautiful. So we didn't know that at the time. So so she's a Leo. My youngest daughter is the 29th, Sandra. I met Sandra's. Did you say if you met Thomas? I must have missed that. But I met Sandra's daughter at the Posh and Sip where the Posh Kings came and had a lovely conversation. So Valerie says, Nikki, I don't know why I thought you were in Virginia. I will send you a DM. We need to link up. I'm all about that. See how I built that community right there? That's what I'm all about. So your daughter will be 24 July 15th. Hey, Cancer, we are the best. There's an eBay live event here in Seattle in July, but now it's virtual. See, the thing with Poshmark, we're already ahead of that when you're on Poshmark because there's so many Posh and Sips. Oh, so speaking of that, I am holding a virtual Posh and Coffee on Saturday. So Eastern time, it's going to be 10 to 12, and it's going to be in a Facebook room. So that was, I signed up. I said I wasn't going to, but I've been having so much fun. And Poshmark wants us to do in Facebook rooms. So if you go to, I'll send you the link if you want it. And I will be hosting a Posh and Coffee. Only 50 people can fit in a room. And so we'll see how that is, because I want to see how it is. I created my first room, and I want to see how it works. I couldn't get on my iPad, so I was very frustrated because it wouldn't work. iPad doesn't update, but you can get it on your phone and your computer. So you just open the room, you call it what you want it, you have your link, and you send it to people just like Zoom. So for people who have ever wanted to do Zoom and don't want to pay for it, the Facebook rooms are free. Up to 50 people, from 2 people to 50 people can fit in a room and chat just like Thomas and I are chatting, or just like a Zoom chat. So on Saturday, do not forget, I'll put the link in our group for the ladies who are asking for it. I'm going to put it, I'll put it in our group. Christy, Wendy, Nikki, Lizette, we're all in the same, you're in my group. So I'll put it in the group and then I'll send it. James Wilson, I am late, but I am on. Is that your friend, Thomas? Okay.
I don't know James Wilson.
So, anybody else have any questions? We have
James Wilson. Who are you? Do I know you? Or are we related?
That's your cousin, is it?
His last name is not Wilson. It looks like him, but that's not his name. So
okay. Hey. Yeah. So anyway, does anybody have any last minute questions? So again, I have a lot of stuff going on. This will be in the video, which is really fun. So I'm doing a Zoom chat that is June 15th, next Monday. That is 7 p.m. That was my regular monthly June chat. And then on June 29th, so I'll put everything in the comments that we're talking about when this buffers. June 29th, we're doing a culture conversation. I'm looking for 20 people. I currently have 10 people. So if you're a couple, I'll count you as a person who wants to join. So far we have about 4 couples, and we're going to have a cultural conversation. We have people from all over the world, from different cultural backgrounds. So we're going to talk about love, color, racism. We'll get into politics. It will be recorded and released as a YouTube video. Okay, so it's going to be a real-time conversation, and we're just going to start opening up the conversation. And I'm so glad that everyone is having conversations.
I think James Wilson is my cousin, Mr. Tally.
Okay, well, I just said, I can tell by the face, but I said,
he actually looks like my brother.
So Valerie wants to know, what will sourcing look like for you going forward? You go first, Thomas.
I'm more inclined to do the wholesaling that you turned me on to for getting shoes and trying to find other things, because to me the bins are kind of played. It's like the same old thing. Yeah. And I'm looking more toward that, because you can get better stuff. Sometimes you can get new stuff. Yeah. So You know, you can buy closeouts, you can buy, some salvage merchandise. So I'm looking toward doing that more because, to me, this virus should be a wake up call for resellers that you have to find more than one place to get the stuff you need to sell if you want to stay in business. Because if something else comes up, say the virus mutates and it becomes more virulent, and people start getting sick again, what are you gonna do? Everybody stops going to the bins and stops going to the thrift stores. So I think that's what it's going to look like for me. I'm going to do more online searching for wholesalers, etc.
Yeah, one of the things I would like to wait until we move and we have like the garage that Thomas is talking about, and then maybe that's when we could start getting into a little collaborations. Because when I've been looking lately about interesting items to source, I have been seeing liquidation. I have been seeing pallets and bigger boxes, but we currently don't have the space for that. But I do see a lot of potential for things that he and I could do together. Like and I'm going to tell people, you need to Google. Denali was on last week. Not everyone wants to give away their source. I currently don't have a source, so I'm not hiding anything. I just happen to go in and put in liquidation. But the interesting thing is, if you put in your city and look for liquidation places, there are tons of places. When I happened to go on, there were places coming up that were in Delaware and Pennsylvania, and we live right next to Maryland. So if you put in liquidation or manufacturing or bulk, items or pallets, and you put in your state, it may be easier for you to go and get it, because they're going to charge you $200 just to ship a $500 to $3,000 pallet. So that's an option for you. But I would love to do something different, because even sunglasses, you can get 1,000 pair of sunglasses and make really good money. So there's a lot of options. But to answer your question, Valerie, for myself, sourcing is probably the one that it currently does. Thomas thankfully brings a lot of shoes. I do eventually want to get out, but I don't need to get into the big thrift stores like Goodwill. There are a lot of small, like mom and pop shops. I actually discovered one that is only 5 minutes away. And I want to really get into the vintage and see what I can do and how far I can go with vintage, what I can learn about the different eras and the years and things like that. So that's one of the things that I want to do. Continue getting the shoes. He'll bring home a pile of shoes and I'll take about 5 or so pair. Right, sweetie? And so, and then also sourcing doesn't have to be me going out or even looking online. It's something that starts from home. I'm still going to keep cleaning on our house. I really want it to be bare and sell as much stuff online. And then the final thing is, because I'm so creative, as you can see with the tie-dye and all the things that I'm doing, that takes me back to where I started when I was 5 years old, creating and selling like little papers to people in my family. But that is another thing, is I source for the items I need. Like I get brand new shirts and things like that, and my dye and all that stuff. That's the sourcing, so that I can create and sell it. So that, and I'll always create. Like I can always fall back on that, whether it be something I do in terms of painting or whatever, or some food. I can always make some money. And then so Lori says, how do I get so much done? I'm in awe. Well, you know how I get so many things done? I don't clean my house. There you go. So
I don't either.
So like, that's one of the benefits of like having no little children, because you remember the moms who have little children, you're constantly cleaning and doing all that stuff. Now I'm like, the sink and the toilet are clean. Seriously, my clothes, I don't wash them until I'm out of socks and underwear. That's the honest truth. And it's having the realization that I'm not in a hurry to be anywhere, and I can really make my own schedule. But it's all about being productive. So I want to build a community, but also be productive in creating everything that I'm doing. So some days I'm strategic, where I sit down and I really get to it. And some days I said, you know what, I'm just going to do 5 things today. And the 5 things might be a video, Instagram, or whatever. So it seems like I'm doing a lot, but I have it written down, and I'll take like 2 videos in a day and release them slowly. That kind of thing. I try not to do all my content at once. And just like release every single day a video. So you got to just get strategic about how you're doing things and putting things together. You can get it done. And Thomas has reminded me on more times than I can remember. We all have the same amount of time in a day. So it's the difference between a person who, someone said today, wow, I need to come up with a schedule. My suggestion is stop saying you need to come up with a schedule and create a schedule. That's really it. And you don't even have to have a schedule. Every day I write down 5 things I need to do. I work on the very important things. Like this morning at 9 o'clock, I was on the phone with my daughter's school trying to figure out some financial aid stuff. And by 1 o'clock, I was done all the phone stuff, you know.
Oh my God, I got something I got to get done. Our taxes. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that they extended the deadline for the taxes. Woo.
So that's a really good idea, Stark Raven. Wow. Some animal shelters have thrift stores. I love that. They could really use the funds right now. And there you go. So that's an idea to look up. And that's the same thing with, like, I like the smaller thrift stores where one is a church. Thomas only been once, but I would like to go again a couple times this year. And it's another small one that benefits the local hospital where you go in there and it's, you know, just volunteers at work. So it's like really cool. So, family members are now giving items to me. That's great. Okay. And Lori says the Facebook Marketplace is a great place to store. Yes, definitely the Marketplace. I've bought shoes and things that I've flipped really easily and inexpensively. But also places like ThredUp. 3 weeks ago, I bought like these shoes for $3.99 on ThredUp. I sold them yesterday for $22. Oh, and the last thing that I want to say before Thomas and I go off. If you are on the fence about ThredUp and you have things you just want to get rid of, get your free label and send your stuff to them. I sent them 12 boxes. They just started processing my boxes. They've only processed 2 boxes and they've taken 32 items out of 2 boxes. They still have 10 boxes to go through. So, and when that comes back, you can always send stuff back again because then another person will look at it. So I say, and I got my boxes to be expedited. Like I paid a little extra money and like $26, and the money that I make, that money will come off because so they expedited it in 14 days instead of it sitting there taking a long time. So they started contacting me 3 days ago. And then today I just got 2 messages where they opened up 2 boxes so far. So that is a way to definitely make some money. It doesn't hurt, especially if you were giving it away. I sent stuff like Forever 21. I sent No Name H&M, and I just went right into ThredUp and I said, oh yeah, they take it. So I put it in the box. Print out your label and see. It never hurts. That's a way to make some extra money too. Don't take your stuff to Plato's Closet because they don't take anything hardly. So send it to ThredUp. But friends, Thomas is looking tired. I'm tired. I lay down for 30 minutes and almost fell asleep. Even though I'm not going to sleep, I'm going to work because it's too early. So I want to thank everyone for coming on. If you have any specific topics that you want Thomas and I to talk about, leave them in the comments or send me a message on DM so that we can put together something for next week. And we really want to be prepared. We want everybody to be inclusive and we want to have a conversation. So I do have spots left over for next Monday, June 15th at 7 p.m. I'm doing a Zoom chat. I'm allowing up to 40 people to come on so that we can talk about, I'm teaching people how to just, you know, make some extra money and diversify their income. And we just, you know, have conversation. So friends, I want to thank you. You want to say anything?
I think it'd be a good idea if we ask people to suggest books that we could read that would help us along the lines.
Nice.
Books, tutorials, etc. Like here's one that I just got. It's probably going to be backwards. How to make big money with your speaking voice.
Yeah,
I just ordered that, you know, because I'm interested in other things as I get older. As you keep reminding me, older. So let's come up with a book list of books that would help us all in our reselling journey. Okay.
Sounds good. So good night, everyone. Thank you so much. Lizette is saying hit the thumbs up. There's 14 people on. There should be 14 thumbs up. Set a reminder so you know all my videos, not just Tucker Tuesdays, but anything I release, you'll know ahead of time. So thank you, friends, for joining us. I appreciate you for taking time out of your day or your night to spend it with us. Take care.